Movie fans, it's official. Memes are dangerous no matter what. Some of you might have seen yesterday I posted my review for Minions: The Rise of Gru, and I mentioned in that review how Minions is doing what Morbius couldn't. There's this big movement surrounding Minions where you're supposed to go either in a Minions outfit or business attire because the film is going to be a cinematic masterpiece. That, along with the people who genuinely want to see the Minions, it's working in their favor because the movie's set to make box office records for an animated movie this weekend. But now we see that the memes are being taken too far because there are multiple reports now of people who are getting kicked out of the theater because they're just overly exaggerating, clapping and cheering during the movie. I had this happen when I went to the film. Not people getting kicked out, but people were clapping and cheering like we were watching Spider-Man No Way Home. Not even just that, but people throwing literal bananas at the movie screens and now them having to be replaced because they've been damaged. Some where even the cops are called to settle down the crowds. Like, Minions, what happened? And I fear this is only the beginning. It's gonna become a trend now. Every other month, we're gonna have a Morbius or Minion kind of movie, and things are gonna get wild. I had to just bring that up because I can't be the only one befuddled by all this. Putting that aside, let's jump into the movie news we're gonna discuss here today. Some of the stuff we're gonna be talking about here is we got our first promotional artworks for Black Panther 2 showing off not only the villain, but Namor himself. We're also gonna be talking about an update with Godzilla vs. Kong because it looks like the next movie might actually be a rematch. Possible casting details on who our next Wolverine is for the MCU, that along with so much more. So I'm gonna need you Minion fans to leave me your bananas down in the comment section. Leave them good theater people alone. They're working hard this weekend, so spam bananas in the comments. Or if you have your own Minion story from this weekend, I would love to hear it. Alright, so the first story I want to dive into here today is one that has me super excited as a horror fan, is we got an update on the upcoming Final Destination reboot, aka Final Destination 6. So just to bring you guys up to speed, it's been reported on for a while, even before the pandemic, that there would be a new Final Destination movie. And even most recently, it was revealed that John Watts, the man who brought us the Spider-Man Homecoming trilogy, is the producer on this upcoming movie. Well, Dread Central went ahead and sat down with the original creator of Final Destination, who did say he knows what's going on with the latest movie, and revealed something really interesting. He said here with Final Destination, I will say it's not just going to be another kind of we set up a group of people, they cheat death, and then just death gets them. There's one wrinkle that we kind of added to every movie to kind of like change it up a little bit, but it doesn't follow that kind of formula that we've kind of established. I think I can say that much. So from those statements, if you're someone who's watched the Final Destination movies, you know the formula. Movie starts off with them introducing us to a whole bunch of characters. One of them sees a vision for a horrific accident. They then stop that accident, and throughout the course of the movie, those survivors die one by one until it's over. That has been the go-to formula for about 5 movies. And it feels like that formula is finally going to be broken for this next movie, and they're gonna play it differently, and I'm kind of all for it. I'm someone who loves the Final Destination franchise. I just get a huge kick out of how creative it can get with its kills, but admittedly, the last couple movies got super cheesy. People were dying like they were made out of toothpicks, and they just didn't become as fun because by the end of the movie, almost every single person always dies. So to me, it kind of sounds like maybe we'll be following a certain group of people that only some of them die throughout the movie. Maybe all of them have the same vision this time instead of just one person. It's kind of hard to tell what exactly they mean by changing the formula. Nevertheless, I think the most important thing I want to know about with the new Final Destination movie is what's the big accident? We know we're all traumatized from the car crash scene in the second movie. My personal favorite accident was the roller coaster one, and that's always been one of the funnest parts of the Final Destination movie, is this big accident that happens out of nowhere. I'd be happy to hear your guys' guess as to what you think the big accident is. I think the most common response I always get is a cruise ship or like a boat. Let me know what you guys think of these new details for Final Destination, and what do you think they mean by breaking the formula? Moving on here, talking about Godzilla vs. Kong, glad we can talk about some hairy cheeks again, and it looks like we are not just getting hairy cheeks this time. So for one, over the past week, we got the update officially that Godzilla vs. Kong will be coming out in the year 2024, specifically March 15th, 2024, which just kind of sucks that it's like 2 years away, but we still have an exciting update nonetheless, because every time I bring up this Godzilla vs. Kong sequel, I have to do the whole spiel talking about, it's called a Godzilla vs. Kong sequel, but it's not really going to involve Godzilla, it's more of a solo Kong movie, following him on Hollow Earth, and it might be about him raising his son being called Son of Kong. But it looks like I might not have to give that explanation anymore, because Godzilla might actually be in this sequel. The main reason people are coming to this conclusion is because if you go to the official Toho Toho-owned Godzilla website, they mentioned flat out that Godzilla is returning to theaters in this Godzilla vs. Kong sequel, kind of breaking the rumors we've been hearing that this was supposed to be another solo Kong movie, and no, it's another Godzilla vs. Kong film. And look, you guys know me, I prefer Hairy Cheeks over Godzilla, but hearing that the two stars are gonna rumble again, oh, I'm on board for that. Now, immediately, I know people are going to go, but why would they fight? They were friends at the end of that movie. What reason would they have to tussle again? Well, if we're looking at all the current details we have, and again, we just have to speculate right now, if we go back to some of the reports we've been hearing, it said that the Godzilla vs. Kong sequel is under the working title of Origins. And that led fans to believe then that this movie would actually be a prequel to Godzilla vs. Kong, and it would be the story about the ancestors of Kong and Godzilla meeting and fighting each other for the first time, kind of giving us the backstory on those battle axes that Kong had in the recent movie. And that right there would be the perfect setup and reasoning to see another rematch, and it makes all the sense in the world to me. Because Godzilla vs. Kong unfortunately came out at a time in the pandemic where it was released in theaters and on a streaming service at the exact same time. Sure, it still made a boatload of money, I think the most for the MonsterVerse, but that showed that the movie could have made so much more money if we were in a normal time. So I think Legendary and them saw that and was like, well, we just got to make another Godzilla vs. Kong movie and we'll make even more money. And you know what? I don't even care. I want it. Still, for now, let's take it with a grain of salt, but the fact that the official Godzilla website says it themselves, Godzilla is coming back in this movie, and we already knew this film was confirmed to have King Kong involved, it's another Godzilla vs. Kong match, man. How are you guys feeling on these possible details? Moving on here, we got some updates on Taron Egerton. Right now, he's going around doing a bunch of interviews because he's got an upcoming Apple TV show that I'm actually excited for. Looks pretty cool. And during these interviews, he was asked about Kingsman 3, and he admitted that the movie is looking to film next year. And the main reason I wanted to bring this up is just to get a gauge and idea from you guys out there. Are you excited for another Kingsman movie? I don't know about you, but I kind of got burnt out on the franchise with that second Kingsman movie. I really like what they did with that first film, and it like totally surprised me whenever I went to go see it in the theater. But then the way the franchise just kind of took a little bit of a weird turn in that second movie, it left me with a bad taste in my mouth that I didn't even see the most recent prequel. And now with this third movie coming out, I honestly don't know if I'm excited. It'll be one that when the trailers come out, they better be bussin' and show something intriguing for me to want to be back in this. Because I do think the Kingsman world is cool, but ultimately, I'd rather have Matthew Vaughn go do some other stuff. Such a talented director with a unique filming style, I need to see him do other things. So Kingsman fan, are you excited for the third movie? Are you actually interested? Or are you like me and are kind of not really caring that much for another movie? But the other Taron Egerton news that came out this week that was super exciting is it looks like he could possibly be our next Wolverine for the MCU. In these same interviews that he was doing, he admitted he has had meetings with good old Kevin Feige, has sat down in those Marvel offices, maybe he even got a chance to sniff his hat. It's my goal in life. Oh! And well, one of the most common things Taron Egerton is being fan casted for is to play Logan, aka Wolverine. He responded to this by saying, I don't think I would be wrong to say that. It'd be exciting, but I'd be apprehensive as well, because Hugh is so associated with that role, I'd wonder if it'd be very difficult for someone else to do it. But hopefully it does come around and they'll give me a shot. So really, there's no denying it. It looks like he's definitely up for the role of Wolverine, and he's hoping he gets it, and I wouldn't mind it if he gets Wolverine. Boy definitely has the looks to be a superhero. If I had to pick one for him, I'd rather him play Scott Summers, Cyclops. He just kind of gives off that vibe, and I think he'd be really great in that role. But if he was also Wolverine, oh, that could be awesome. But it also just depends, what are they doing with the X-Men in the MCU? Because I really thought after watching Doctor Strange we would get a better idea of how the mutants would be introduced in the MCU. And we're still just as clueless. Will it be a merging of the worlds? Will it just be another dimension where X-Men exist and they have to come over? Are they just gonna start randomly appear and one day mutants are just being born left and right? The MCU has lately been taking a lot of extreme liberties, some that we're gonna talk about in this video. And fans lately have just gotten so picky and decisive with what Marvel is doing with their characters that I know there's a group of people watching right now going, Hugh Jackman is the only Wolverine. He can be the only one to play that role. When I get it, Hugh Jackman will always be iconic in Wolverine, but I think I'm excited to see someone else try something different with him. Would you guys be willing to see Taron Egerton play Wolverine in the upcoming MCU? If not, what other hero? But okay, now bringing us to these promo art photos for Black Panther 2 titled Wakanda Forever. In about 2 weeks time, most of the big Marvel MCU fans will have already have watched Thor Love and Thunder and are moving on to the hype for Black Panther. And now the realization is really starting to hit with us that, man, we're gonna get a sequel to Black Panther that doesn't have Chadwick Boseman, that doesn't have T'Challa in it. Hell, I don't even know if they're gonna have a Black Panther in here. But with us getting closer to Wakanda Forever, it makes sense that we're starting to get some of these promo images, so let's start looking at them. For one, we have this one here of Shuri and Okoye. They look great, like in Shuri's outfit. But then moving away from that image, we're treated to one of the big villains of Wakanda Forever, and that is Atuma. This is someone who does come from the comics and has been known to challenge Namor for the throne of Atlantis. And I gotta admit, I'm loving the design here, that hammerhead shark skull on top of his head, the blue skin muscled out. In the comics, some Atlanteans have been known to have blue skin, and it looks like they're going with that route, whether all the Atlanteans will have blue skin or just the people who follow his tribe. Nevertheless, this guy is going to be challenging Namor for his throne, and I wouldn't be surprised if he secretly incites a battle between Wakanda and the Atlanteans. Moving on here to what has gotten fans discussing heavily though is Namor's official look. Now if you guys have been following my channel, you know I did an update before that they would be drastically changing the background of Namor from the comics, mainly because Marvel wants to stay away from a comparison from what DC is doing with their Aquaman and having Atlanteans there. The MCU will now be making Atlanteans more based on Aztec/Mayan culture. And here looking at the design, it's very apparent. You can see the Aztec inspiration in this look, and as a Hispanic myself who's always been fascinated with Aztec culture, I dig this look. Maybe I could have done without the nose piercings, but again, that's part of their culture. But I think it's a very badass look and pretty close to what Namor's design already looks like. I mean, they even got the pointy ears going. In some of these other photos, you can even see they're gonna give him the wings on his feet. You gotta be happy they included that. And yes, this is the actor Tenoch Huerta. If this design is at all close to how he's physically gonna be looking like for the movie, boy got jacked. It's also said he'll have multiple outfits throughout the movie, and we do have a look of another one. The mascot on his head is a jaguar, and I think there's just something so poetic and cool about a Black Panther clan versus a jaguar clan. So I know a lot of you guys will have opinions on this, and I'll respect that, but I'm gonna be real with y'all. Seeing all this promo art kind of makes me sad, because it's making me realize we're about to have a Black Panther movie where they don't market Black Panther. And I don't mean Chadwick Boseman, I just mean whoever is supposed to be the next Black Panther, whether it's M'Baku, Shuri, one of the Dora Milaje. Like, I think that's gonna be such a huge secret of Black Panther 2 is who takes up that mantle and what happened to T'Challa. There's also something inside of me that feels so bummed out we're not gonna see T'Challa versus Namor. Like, that right there should be an epic clash. Two kings of these advanced civilizations coming together and fighting with their people. This movie was supposed to break all the records in the world, man. I really wish Kevin Feige and Marvel had the guts to recast T'Challa, because no disrespect to Chadwick Boseman, man was a legend and he made that role iconic, but I do feel like T'Challa is a character that can live on through other people, and having someone else be T'Challa was not replacing Chadwick, but carrying on what he started. Because I am hyped to see Black Panther 2 and all this stuff in here, but I would have been way more hyped if the character of T'Challa was part of this story. The good thing is we'll get those answers come this year, and we'll know whether them deciding not to recast and kill T'Challa off in their universe was the right way to go or a mistake. But I throw it off to you guys. You see these promo art images for Black Panther 2. How do you feel about a Black Panther movie that isn't promoting Black Panther? Do you like Namor's look and the inspiration from Aztec culture? And where's your excitement level knowing that Chadwick Boseman isn't part of this one? But that is all the movie news we currently have going on right now, guys. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch me talk some movie news. Don't be forgetting to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.